This 6'7 build is the absolute tallest build that gets Gold Limitless Range. I also gave this build elite playmaking, contact dunks, and all-around defense with Gold Interceptor to be a threat in all areas. With shades of Cade, LaMelo, and Jamal Murray, this build has a lot of potential and actually looks pretty crazy, but there's a few areas on this build I think could be improved, and we're gonna go over that in this video. And if you enjoy informative build content, consider subscribing to the channel and turning notifications on so you don't mess up your day one build. Now let's get right into it. Starting off, my player is 6'7 with a minimum wingspan of 6'7, and that's the only way to get an 89 3-point to get silver limitless range. And then I'm going to use my max +1 badge perk to get it to gold. But moving on to playmaking, I went with a 90 ball handle for gold handles for days, and while LaMelo Ball's SIGs require a 91 ball handle, Kobe's SIGs are also available at an 88, and those SIGs were great last year in 2K24. I'm assuming they'll probably be pretty good. Again, we'll just have to see. But aside from LaMelo and Kobe's SIGs, I don't see much of a reason to go for max ball handle on a 6'7. I then went with a 75 speed with ball for silver lightning launch, which is the cap for 6'7s, but I probably should have increased it to at least an 80 for the extra dribble styles, which you'll see on the screen. And then for pass accuracy, I bumped it to an 85, which is too high for some people and too low for others, but at the end of the day, I always tell people to tweak the build the way you like to play. If you wanted lower pass accuracy, you can definitely improve some other areas on this build, so it's all about what you want and how you want to play. After bumping up my agility to a 72 and my mid-range to a 91, I get gold shifty shooter, but something to note is that you do get gold deadeye at 92, so if you want to raise it initially, you can, or you could just use a single cap breaker, which would give this build all gold shooting badges. The max mid-range on this build when considering these cap breakers is going to go up to 96, which is the cutoff for Hall of Fame shifty shooter, but you'll also need a 76 agility as well, which is still within reach, which means this build has long-term potential but can still be good right away. Now for the defense, I gave this build a 74 perimeter defense for all the bronze defensive badges, a 68 block for bronze high flying denier, and if you wanted, I believe you could get bronze paint patroller on this build with a 74 block and 60 interior should you choose to do that. But then I gave this build an 85 steal for Gold Interceptor, making this build a more than capable defender. The one thing on this build I do think will be the biggest detriment might possibly be the low agility. So if I were to remake this build, the number one thing I would try to focus on is trying to get that up so I don't feel too sluggish without the ball. Now lastly, for finishing, this build has an 87 driving dunk with 75 vert for the pro contact dunks and a 40 standing dunk for the basic standing packages. But driving dunk is another thing I might try to increase if I were to remake this build, and to do that I could lower pass accuracy and maybe ball handle to an 88 instead, but I would lose gold handles for days, so it's all a give and take. But this is the final build I made at community day. It was more just a throwaway build, but I wanted to give you guys a look at what the max shooting would look like on a 6'7 build with minimum wingspan. And like I said, this is the tallest build that can get gold limitless range. I'm generally not a fan of minimum wingspan, but this build is unique in the sense that it's the tallest build and the only way to get gold limitless range on a 6'7, and you have to use your max +1 badge perk to get it there. With that being said, you still have access to contact dunks and the ability to get better ones down the road. Now that's all I got for this build video, and it'll be my last one before the actual game comes out. Thank you all for watching. It's been Spill, and I'm out. Later.